You can just feel it right now. Something big is about to happen with this team. There's tension around the quarterback situation, fans are waiting for answers, and every single update coming out of Pittsburgh is making this offseason even crazier. And honestly, the closer we get to camp, the more it feels like this roster could be setting up for one of the most important seasons we've seen in a long time. So before we get into all the latest news and rumors, make sure you smash that like button and drop, here we go, down in the comments if you're riding with the Steelers no matter what, this season. Aaron Rodgers being in Pittsburgh this weekend without a contract officially signed is starting to raise more questions inside Steelers Nation than anyone expected just a few days ago. The expectation coming into the weekend was that this whole situation was basically heading toward a simple conclusion. Reports earlier in the week suggested Rodgers was expected to finalize a return to Pittsburgh, and many fans believed by now we would already be talking about what the offense could look like during OTAs. Instead, here we are heading into another critical week of the offseason, and there is still no official answer from Rodgers or the organization. What makes this situation even more interesting is the latest information coming out of Pittsburgh regarding Rodgers' agent reportedly being in active negotiations with Omar Khan and the front office, while Rodgers himself stayed away from the practice facility during rookie minicamp. That detail matters. If this was truly just a quick formality, you would think this would already be wrapped up by now. Instead, the Steelers appear to still be working through contract structure, incentives, and potentially even guaranteed money. That tells you there are still details Rodgers cares deeply about before putting pen to paper. The Steelers clearly want him back. There really is no debate about that anymore. Everything this organization has done points toward preparing for Rodgers to lead this team in 2026. The front office has been careful with the quarterback room. Mike McCarthy was brought in specifically to stabilize and develop the position long-term, and the team continues to operate as if they expect Rodgers to eventually walk through those doors. But at the same time, Rodgers understands the leverage he has. Pittsburgh believes it can compete right now with the right veteran quarterback under center, and Rodgers knows there are not many options left on the market with his level of experience and upside. The financial side of this might be the hidden story nobody is talking enough about. The current structure available to Rodgers reportedly sits around a 10% raise from last season, somewhere in the neighborhood of $15.5 million. But the fact negotiations are stretching into another weekend could mean Rodgers is pushing for more significant money than originally anticipated. Maybe it is not a massive blockbuster contract in the $35 million range, but there is a realistic possibility he wants something exceeding $20 million, with additional incentives attached for playoff success, wins, or postseason advancement. And honestly, from Rodgers' perspective, you can understand why. If he believes he still gives Pittsburgh its best chance to compete, then he is going to negotiate accordingly. The Steelers also know they can create cap flexibility if necessary. This front office has consistently shown it can restructure deals and move money around when they identify a player they truly want. So if this drags out a little longer, it may simply be because both sides are trying to finalize a number that works without hurting future roster flexibility. What makes the timing fascinating is how all of this overlaps with rookie minicamp and the beginning of a completely new developmental phase for Pittsburgh's young quarterbacks. While Rodgers remains the headline, the real long-term story inside the building may actually be Drew Aller. The Steelers spent rookie minicamp beginning what sounds like a total rebuild of his mechanics and fundamentals from the ground up. And the way coaches are approaching him tells you everything about their long-term vision. According to what came out of minicamp, the coaching staff immediately focused on his footwork, lower body mechanics, and under-center operation. That should not surprise anyone who watched him at Penn State. Aller has always had elite physical tools. The arm strength jumps out instantly. The size, hand strength, and raw passing talent are all there. But Pittsburgh clearly believes his college development left a lot on the table mechanically, especially within a pro-style structure. This is exactly why Mike McCarthy was viewed as such an important hire internally. McCarthy has built a reputation for refining quarterbacks fundamentally. People forget Aaron Rodgers himself underwent major mechanical adjustments early in his career. His release point, throwing motion, and overall footwork changed dramatically after entering the NFL. McCarthy helped guide those transitions during Rodgers' rise into one of the greatest quarterbacks of his generation. The same thing happened later with Dak Prescott in Dallas. Prescott evolved from a quarterback viewed as heavily dependent on the running game into one capable of carrying an offense through the air. Now Pittsburgh is attempting something similar with Aller, but what stands out most is the patience involved. Reports from minicamp emphasized how slowly and deliberately Aller was being asked to execute drills. Some outside observers immediately criticized the tempo of his footwork and mechanics during practice clips online, but people inside the football world quickly defended the process. The Steelers are intentionally slowing everything down so he can rebuild muscle memory correctly before speeding things back up. That is how serious mechanical development actually works. And honestly, this may tell us more about the Steelers' quarterback plan than anything else this weekend. If the organization truly believed Aller was anywhere near ready to play meaningful football this season, they would not be rebuilding his game from scratch right now. The plan appears obvious. Pittsburgh wants Rodgers for one more year, while Aller develops behind the scenes without pressure. That gives the rookie time to absorb the offense, adjust to NFL speed, fix his mechanics, and learn from both Rodgers and McCarthy before eventually competing for the starting role in 2027. That also explains why the Steelers continue bringing multiple young quarterbacks into the system. Will Howard remains part of the equation too, and internally, the organization likely views competition between Howard and Aller as healthy for the future of the franchise. But there is no question Aller's ceiling is viewed differently. He was drafted higher, possesses elite physical upside, and fits the mold of what teams gamble on when searching for franchise quarterbacks. If he develops properly over the next year, Pittsburgh could avoid having to sacrifice future first-round picks, chasing another quarterback in the draft. The offensive line developments during minicamp were also important and may quietly shape the success of whichever quarterback eventually takes over this offense. Maxie Honecker beginning work at right tackle was one of the more notable updates. The Steelers appear determined not to repeat mistakes they made previously, with young linemen switching sides too early in their development. Honecker played right tackle in college, and Pittsburgh seems committed to allowing him to stay comfortable while developing naturally. Meanwhile, Jennings Dunker officially beginning his transition inside to guard confirms what many expected after the draft. Coaches acknowledge the adjustment will take time, but the Steelers clearly believe his long-term future fits better on the interior. The organization also built insurance around those young linemen by adding depth pieces and maintaining flexibility with players capable of moving around the line if necessary. All of these moves connect back to the same bigger picture. Pittsburgh is trying to stabilize the roster around a transition period at quarterback. Rodgers represents the short-term bridge. McCarthy represents the developmental architect. And players like Drew Aller and Will Howard represent the future lottery tickets the organization hopes eventually become the answer. Now, the biggest question is whether Rodgers finally puts an end to the suspense this week. OTAs are getting closer, the NFL's schedule release is right around the corner, and Steelers fans are waiting for clarity. The longer this drags out, the louder the speculation will become regarding money, guarantees, and whether both sides are truly aligned on expectations for the season ahead. But if Rodgers does sign soon, Suddenly, the entire direction of this offseason starts making perfect sense. Pittsburgh gets its veteran leader for one more run, while quietly preparing the next era behind the scenes. So now, the question for Steelers Nation becomes simple. Do you believe Aaron Rodgers signing for one more season is truly the best path for developing Drew Aller and keeping the Steelers competitive at the same time? But now, the pressure is building on everyone involved. The Steelers are trying to position themselves for a playoff run. Aaron Rodgers is weighing what could potentially be one of the final chapters of his legendary career. And meanwhile, the future of the franchise is quietly being developed behind closed doors with Drew Aller and Will Howard. The next few days could completely change the direction of this offseason. And if Rodgers finally makes this official, the entire conversation around the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to explode across the NFL. So now, I want to hear from you, Steelers Nation. Do you believe Aaron Rodgers is still the right move for this team in 2026? Or would you rather see the Steelers turn the page immediately toward the younger quarterbacks? And between Drew Aller and Will Howard, which player do you think has the better chance to become the future face of the franchise here in Pittsburgh? Drop your thoughts down in the comments right now, because I genuinely want to know where Steelers Nation stands on this situation. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, leave a like on the video, and stay locked in, because all the latest Steelers news, rumors, off-season updates, and exclusive coverage are coming right here first. And when you're done watching this video, click the next one that's appearing on your screen right now, because you do not want to miss what's coming next.